Chris Godinez, licensed professional counselor, also the host of We Need to Talk on every Sunday here at noon on YouTube, and then I post it up to Facebook. The views and opinions stated herein are mine and mine alone. They do not represent the ACA, the APA, or any other damn therapist for that matter. Thank you very much. Boom shakalaka. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. If you feel you need a therapist, please go to Google, type in therapy, your city, Psychology Today will pop up. Click on that, and it will have all of the therapists. Ooh, I got stuff all over my screen. What the heck did I do? All of the therapists in your area. If you feel you need a therapist, Psychology Today is a really good place to find one. All right, there it is. Okay, so we have until Friday to get your RSVP in for the Cruising with Chris Godinez. So the deposit is only $100. Only $100, and it is refundable until October 1st. So you need to get that in. Go to Eventbrite, search for We Need to Cruise with Chris Godinez. The RSVP is free, and either Beth or Chris from Mercury will contact you regarding the deposit, cabin preference, and answer any and all questions that you have. This is really going to be fun, guys. I am so looking forward to this because we're not only going to be hanging out for 3 or 4 days. We're going to be doing karaoke. I'm going to teach you how not to be a victim. We're going to go over Grey Rock. We're going to talk about no contact. We're going to talk about stalkers. We're going to talk about what to do. We're going to talk about legal stuff, you know, what to do if you're in the middle of a divorce or a high conflict divorce or a custody battle with these people. Basically, bring it. Bring your questions. Write them down. So there it is. So I'm really looking forward to this. So if you guys could do that, that would be great. Go to Eventbrite, look for We Need to Talk with Chris Godinez. All of my scheduled appearances will be there. If you're looking for the cruise, go to Eventbrite. We Need to Cruise with Chris Godinez. If you're interested in having me come to your city, I want you to contact me at Mercury. So that's Chris, K-R-I-S, at Mercury, MURCURI.com, and let me know where you would like me to appear next. Now, once we get 10 people or more, I will be able to go. So this is leading into where I'm going to be next. So on July 4th, I will be at the Mensa convention at the Sheraton Grand in downtown Phoenix. So that's all on Mensa. I have nothing to do with that. They just asked me to come and talk. July 6th, I will be going to Santa Barbara, and I'm probably going to be going to Santa Barbara regardless because my sister lives there and God damn it, I want to go see her. So there that is. Now, the next one though that we definitely need to get people signed up for is July 3rd, St. Paul, Minnesota. If I do not have enough people by July 13th, losing my mind, July 13th, St. Paul, Minnesota. If I don't have enough people signed up by June 13th, I'm not going to go because I got to have enough people to cover my flying, my hotel, and whatever food I'm going to do. Because, you know, yes, I am a philanthropist. Yes, I do a hell of a lot of this stuff for free, but I got to cover this stuff. So the one after that is August 3rd, Anaheim, California. That one too is probably going to be I'm going whether or not because I'm going to Disneyland, God damn it, with my buddy Andrea. So excited. And then after that, we're looking at San Jose, August 31st. So again, if you want me to show up someplace, you got to sign up a month before because if we don't have the people, I can't go because I can't afford it because that's a lot of money. So anyway, there it is. Hello, England. Good Lord. Hello, New York. Hello, Mexico. Hello, Amsterdam. Oh my gosh, it's so good to see you guys. This is awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, so today's topic, tit for tat, and talionic thinking. So let's talk about that because a lot of people were like, what's talionic thinking? So talionic thinking. Oh, also, if you could hold your questions or if you could put question in front of it, like, you know, question, and then put your question out. And then what Chris does is he goes through and, you know, compiles all the ones that are relevant to the topic and I can answer them when I'm ready to take questions. So put a question in front of your question and then ask your question. That way we can tell whether it's just you guys talking to each other or whether you're actually going to be needing a question answered. Okay, so talionic thinking, what is it? Talionic is Old Testament. It's an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, tit for tat. So what ends up happening in dysfunctional relationships of any kind, what the abuser does is something called talionic thinking, and they do tit for tat. And they teach the target of abuse to do tit for tat as well. So in other words, what will happen is an issue will come up, the target of abuse will go, you're doing this and this and this and this. And then what the abuser will do is come back and say, oh yeah, well, you're doing the same thing. And you, whipping out the you guns. Okay. Talionic thinking is extremely black and white thinking. It's splitting is what it's called. The technical term for it is splitting, because everything is good, bad, black, white, all, nothing. It's really, there is no gray, okay? And this is where disordered people show their true colors, because they are unable to navigate the gray. They can't navigate the gray. They are unable. They can't, their egos are in charge, and they have to be right, and they want to be right at any and all costs, which means in arguments, if they're losing, they will start calling names. They will try to do word salad. They will take you off topic. And then if you bring up anything that they are doing, they will flip it around and say that you are the one doing it. So tit for tat is a very exceedingly rigid way of thinking. It is. There is no neuroplasticity in that at all. Most people, when they're healthy, are able to put themselves into somebody else's shoes, okay? And they're able to go, what is this person's viewpoint? Why are they coming from this position, okay? With talionic thinkers, and this is generally with both narcissists and with malignant borderlines, malignant narcissists, malignant borderlines, psychopaths, very rigid, very rigid. They cannot see the gray. They refuse to put themselves into somebody else's shoes. So I talked about this a little bit in a previous video. So Dwayne Roberts posted a really interesting video. And it was by a guy who normally does tarot cards. So I was kind of like, why are you posting it by a guy that normally does tarot? There's nothing wrong with people who do tarot cards. I want to make that perfectly clear. But if you're going to start talking about psychology stuff, you got to make sure you have your facts straight. So, and he was saying that, well, it's neuroplasticity and anybody can change if they want to. Well, technically, yes. Now, caveat, here's the problem. What the brain does is when it uses a certain pathway, that pathway becomes ingrained. It's like the ruts from the wheels from the wagon trains that used to go across the plains when people went from the east to the west. So in some places you can still see it. And when I was a kid, that was always so fascinating to me. It was like, oh my God, this is so cool. It's like you can still see the wagon ruts. Anyway, so because the thoughts have been going down that path for so long, that neural connection might as well be padlocked because it's super, super strong. It's not plastic. It's really hard to get somebody who is in that kind of black, white, good, bad, all, nothing thinking to break that neuro bond and try a different connection. Impossible? Nothing is impossible. However, improbable? Yeah. So this is why I keep telling people, narcissists don't get better, guys. It's a brain chemistry thing. It is definitely a neuroplasticity thing. It is definitely how long and for, how many times do they go down that same route and unwilling to change and unable to change because they don't want to, because it's hard work. It is hard work to stop thinking a certain thought or certain pairs of thoughts and switch to something different. So anyway, the thing I'm trying to say is that with an abuser, they teach us to do tit for tat because that's their game. They are in every single communication to win. It is not about understanding. It is not about, tell me more. Where are you coming from? Help me understand why you're so angry. Help me understand what's going on. Help me understand. There is none of that. What there is, oh yeah, well, you did this too. And let me just do some word salad, dog face, banana patch and get you confused over here. And then, oh, and you know what? You did something 3 weeks ago that I really want to bring up and talk about that we already talked about and you already apologized for. But you know what? More word salad and oh, da-da-da. Sound familiar? So anyway, the point being is they teach us tit for tat. And if we have been raised with that, if we had family that was constantly, here's the thing. Narcissists and malignant borderlines, malignant narcissists are in it to win it. They don't care about understanding. So if you get into a discussion with a narcissist or a discussion with a disordered person of any type, if you're in it to try to win the conversation, you've already lost. The only thing you can do is walk the fuck away. As soon as they start calling names, as soon as they start being disrespectful, as soon as they pull out word salad, know that you are in the presence of a disordered person. Walk the fuck away. Let them win that one, because ultimately they will lose, because you're going to leave. So tit for tat, talionic, an eye for an eye. You hurt me. So it's kind of along the lines of, you accidentally step on somebody's toes, right? Like literally, like you step on somebody's toes and that person turns around and goes, oh yeah, and then stomps on your foot. That's tit for tat, because you hurt them. They are personalizing it. They don't see anything as an accident. They don't. And so they are going to hurt you back. That is talionic. That is an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. It's very Old Testament kind of thinking. Very black and white, okay? So a healthy, normal person, somebody stomps on your foot accidentally, right? You're able to go, ow, ow, oh, that really hurt. And then you give that person a chance to go, oh my God, I am so sorry. Are you okay? I didn't mean to hit your foot. Are you okay? I'm so sorry. Do you want me to get you some ice? You're able to do that. A non-plastic, neuroplastic person is unable to do that. It is like knee-jerk reaction. The knee comes up. So knee-jerk reaction, you hurt me, I'm going to hurt you back, motherfucker, and game on. And that's how they think. That's how they do, especially if they're losing the argument. If you come at them and you've got your facts and figures all together and you know what you're talking about and you're using all of the correct communication skills, which is I statements. So in a healthy, normal relationship, when you're presenting, I've been hurt, I feel, so I feel, not you, I feel whatever the emotion is, sad, hurt, disrespected, not heard, devalued, angry, whatever the emotion is, when this behavior happens. Notice nowhere in that sentence was the word you. When this behavior, when this is said to me in this way, I feel angry, I feel hurt, I feel sad, I feel disrespected. What an abuser will do is, rather than reflect back, because remember, this is reflective listening. This is what I teach all my couples. So a normal, healthy person would go, oh my gosh, what I heard you say was, you feel whatever this emotion is when this behavior happens to you. Did I get that right? And then that person has the chance to go, yeah, that's exactly right. Or if the other person goes word salad, well, I'm just a horrible spouse and you did. No, that's not what I said. Let's try again. So that kind of speaking takes the power away from the narcissist. They don't like it. And so they're going to do more and more word salad trying to confuse you. So you have to be really crystal clear, and you have to be with a healthy person in order to do reflective listening. If your partner continually word salads you, brings up the past, tit for tat, you hurt me, I'm going to hurt you, get the fuck out. Seriously, you are dealing with an abuser. Period. 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 Okay. So, in a healthy relationship, you're able to express your emotions and express, how you've been hurt. A normal, normal bunny ears, what's normal, but a normal partner, somebody who is dedicated to the best communication possible, will hear you, listen to you, not run it through their ego filter. Okay. And not come up with a bunch of meanings that it does not have because they're so in their head. They will reflect back what they've heard you say, and then in their turn, they will take steps to remedy it, either making an amends, making an apology, what can I do differently, etc. Do you see where I'm going? I acknowledge I hurt you. So a real heartfelt apology. I cannot stress this enough. You want to know you're in the presence of a narcissist or a crazy person or a dysfunctional abuser? First of all, they do word salad. They bring up the past constantly, and they never apologize. And if they do apologize, it's because they're either that they got caught and they're, trying to get out of it. So they'll do this fake apology, or they'll do this whole, I'm sorry, but I'm sorry, I'm sorry, you made me. I'm sorry, but you're responsible. They never take personal responsibility for anything. They are in this conversation to win. They are not in it to understand. And this is what I cannot emphasize enough. Once you know you are in an abusive relationship, trying to talk to a narcissist or a malignant borderline, you will get further having a conversation with this backdrop than you will having a conversation with an abuser. They don't care. You have no more meaning to them than this mug. Oh, dear God. That would be a really cheesy lead in, but I'm going to take it. Hi, this mug is available on eBay. So the point being is you have no more meaning to them than this mug. You are an object to be used, and their whole existence is to be right because they can't stand losing. They cannot stand losing. And to them, losing is appearing weak, is being vulnerable, is willing to listen to somebody else's side, to put themselves in somebody else's shoes, because it means that they have to get their ego out of the way and admit that maybe possibly they're wrong, which they're not going to do because they're not going to do it. It's beyond their means. They just won't. They absolutely won't. Their ego defense system is so well built and well in place that it is almost impossible. No, not almost. It is impossible for them to truly apologize and take ownership for their own bad behavior. So the good news of all of this, hang on. The good news of all of this is that we learn this stuff from them. We pick up these bad communication traits from them. So when we're in a relationship with an abuser, if they're raging at us all the time, guess what we're going to start doing? We're going to start raging back because eventually we get tired of it. And so we start raging because that's what we hear. That's what we see. That's the behavior that is allowed. In a healthy, normal relationship, guys, there is no raging. I've had people argue with me on this, and I'm just like, I have been married for 27 years now, and we don't rage. There is no raging because we respect each other. In a healthy, normal relationship, there is respect and there is listening and there's self-esteem and self-respect. And neither one of us are going to put up with raging from anybody. Okay. You know, because we respect ourselves and we respect each other. That is what love is. Wrap your head around this. Love and respect are the exact same thing. If there is no love, there is no respect. If there is no respect, there is no love. I cannot stress that enough. So we have learned these behaviors. When we get into an argument with them, suddenly we start doing tit for tat. Suddenly we start going, oh yeah, well you did da 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 da. So the question I always ask people when they're, you know, participating in that kind of behavior is, how old do you feel? Do you feel heard right now? You know, and the answer is usually no. And usually I feel like I'm 4 or whatever. So basically what it is we all just want to be heard in a relationship. We want to be validated. We want to be acknowledged. We want to be, you know, we want somebody to go, okay, tell me again what's going on so I understand, so we can work through this and come to a mutually satisfying agreement, okay? Narcissists and borderline malignant, guys, remember, guys, I'm talking about malignant. I'm not talking about little traits of. I am talking about full-blown witch and queen, full-blown NPD. So these people don't give 2 flying rats' asses about fair. They don't give 2 flying rats' asses about understanding. They don't give 2 flying rats' asses about being on the same page. For them, it is, I must win. I must be one up. You must be one down. Period. That is what these people are interested in. And you got to understand too, they are getting narcissistic supply. They don't care where the attention comes from as long as they are getting attention. You know, there's a famous quote, and I cannot remember for the life of me who did it, but it's like, you know, I don't care what you say about me, just spell my name right. It was some actress. It was back in the 20s. But, you know, it was like, I don't care if the publicity is good. I don't care if the publicity is bad. Just make sure you're paying attention to me. And that is what narcissists fucking do. They don't care. They don't care that you guys are in a knockdown, drag out fight. They don't care that they're doing tit for tat. For them, every time you keep feeding the dragon, it's going to keep breathing fire on you because they're getting narcissistic supply from it. They are getting their rocks off on seeing you upset. And let's take this a step further. Their goal is to turn us into them. They want every single target of abuse to behave exactly like they do so they can justify their own miserable existence and how they lie, how they cheat, how they steal, how they disrespect, how they talk down to people, how they call names. They want everyone to behave exactly like they do. And that is why if you're ever on the internet and you see these flame wars going on, it's because the person who's being flamed against wants to prove the other one wrong. It's like, hey, I'm being unjustly accused, blah, 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 blah. No, sweetheart, stop. Stop. The best way to shut down these fuckers is to stop giving them supply. I can guarantee you that they're on the other end of that just going, oh yeah, baby, yeah, this is great. Yeah, fuck you, yeah. See where I'm going? Stop feeding the dragon, and then they'll stop breathing fire because they will have no power. So they get off on negative attention as well as positive attention. And that's hard for people to wrap their head around because here's the deal. We all treat people the way we treat ourselves and the way that we see the world. So most normal people, healthy, normal, empaths, kind, gentle, good, moral, compassed people treat other people in kind. We expect to be respected and we expect to be heard and we expect to be able to talk things through because that's who we are. Narcissists, on the other hand, want the drama, want the trauma, want the fuck yous, want the throwing, want the everything. They want exactly what they are. They want that reflected back to them. And if they can choose a good person and twist them and torture them into being exactly their mirror image, oh my dear God, that is crack cocaine, meth, alcohol, all rolled into one for them. They get the fuck off on it. They do. Ha! You're not so moral. You're not so good. You're not so this. You're not so that. You're just like me. That's what they do. I've heard them fucking say that shit. So you've got to be careful and you've got to be aware that tit for tat, an eye for an eye, Talionic thinking is gonna make the whole fucking world goddamn blind. Knock it the fuck off. So this is the good news. This is all learned behavior. We have either learned it from watching parental units do this bullshit, or we have learned it from being in a romantic relationship or a business relationship where the boss is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs and goes off on rages, and I've seen that happen too. You know, we've learned it. So it's a learned behavior. So tit for tat does not work. So when somebody starts doing tit for tat, you have two options. You either turn and walk away, or you guide them back to what the original topic was. We're not talking about me right now. We're talking about what's going on in our relationship. We're talking about this behavior that is not acceptable to me. You know, and of course they'll be like, oh, well, it's always about you and da, da, da. As soon as they do that, they're not interested in understanding. A normal person would not go off topic and they would be like, tell me more. Tell me what I'm doing so that I can change this behavior so that our relationship is okay. That's what a healthy, normal person does. Or, you know, let's say that it's an abuser saying it. Now that's in a healthy relationship. Let's say that it's an abuser going, well, you need to change your behavior and you need to. There's your first clue. It's not a healthy conversation right there. And number two, healthy relationships allow the person to decide whether this is a behavior that they are going to change or not. Whereas with you're with an abuser, you're going to have that abuser demanding and insisting, and you don't have a choice. So, okay, so it's learned. So when you feel that need for tit for tat, I want to hurt you as much as you've hurt me. Stop. Just stop. Stop cold. Stop the conversation. You know what? I need to take a time out. We're not going to talk about this. So, you know, we need to regroup. I need to calm down and go get a therapist to help you with boundaries, to help you with good communication. There are some great books out there on good communication skills. One is called Fighting for Your Marriage. I have no idea who wrote it. That's a great book. Another self-esteem workbook or a self-esteem book is called You Are a Badass. That's a great self-esteem workbook. People with good self-esteem, guys, don't participate in tit for tat. We don't. We just don't, because it's kind of like, we know that's not going to go anywhere. And it's kind of like, I'm owning what I'm doing. My partner needs to own what they're doing. And if not, then we're done, period. You know, whether that's a friendship, whether that's a romantic partner, whether it's a parental unit, whether it's a boss, you do not put up with bullshit. You just don't. So that is tit for tat thinking. So how do you stop that? How do you stop that? So you got to do some self-analysis. Where did you get hurt? How old do you feel when you want to do the tit for tat? How old are you? 9 times out of 10, when I talk to people and I ask them that, it's really young. They're like 2 to 4. 2 to 4. You know, I feel like I'm very, very small. I feel like I'm a baby. I feel like I'm, you know, maybe pre-verbal. I feel, you know, so they feel very tiny. So oftentimes, if you go back and you work on the Inner Child Workbook by Catherine Taylor, do I have a copy of that somewhere? No, I don't. I don't know where I put it. Dear God. Anyway, if you start working on that, you start realizing, when did I not get heard? Who didn't believe me? Who didn't listen? Who was unwilling to say, hey, what do you need? What are you trying to tell me? Talk to me. How are you feeling? What's going on? Or, hey, I recognize I hurt you and I am truly sorry and it will not happen again. And then it doesn't. Because with an abuser, they'll say, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. They don't mean it. The behavior continues and we learn not to trust them. So you want to know where your trust issues come from? It comes from that. Hang on just a second. Okay. So it's a learned behavior. So the important thing is when, as soon as you recognize you're doing tit for tat, or you want to strike back, or you want to hurt that person, stop. That is just feeding the dragon. It is, because that's what they want. Because every single time you do that, you drop to the abuser's level and you are mimicking the abuser. Which is why so many people write in and they're like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I'm the abuser. I recognize this. I do this. I do. That's what they want, guys. That's not who you are. Let me just reassure you. This is not who you really are. Abusers don't feel guilt over it. Abusers do not have they go to bed and sleep like the dead because they have no conscience. They have no empathy. They have no ability to go right, wrong. I mean, they know right from wrong. They don't fucking care. They don't. They don't feel guilty about it. So every single person is like, oh my God, am I a narcissist? I've noticed I've done this and I feel so awful. No, you're not. You know why? You feel awful. Narcissists do not feel awful. They don't care. They get off on it. They enjoy it. So you got to recognize, how old are you when you're wanting to strike back? Because that's a very young, immature way to respond. And when I say immature, I don't mean that like a slap in the face immature. I mean, you're not very old. That's a baby thing to do. That is what little ones do. That is what toddlers do. They get hurt. They turn around and hit the toy that hurt them, or they hit the door that they ran into because they're angry. See, that's what little kids do. So you want to look back and figure out, where did you learn this? When did you not get hurt? How old are you feeling? Who didn't listen to you? Who was there that kept saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, and then kept doing the same abusive behavior over and over again? You've been groomed for this. And again, if we are in an abusive relationship, there is that element of addiction. So think of it this way. Abusers are addicted to drama, totally addicted to drama. They enjoy it. They look for it. Even if somebody is trying to appease them, this is why you can't appease them, you know, trying to calm them down, trying to appease them, trying to give them what they want, they will jump the gun, start calling names, start putting down, start accusing of all sorts of horrible things that are really about them, not about you. So when an abuser starts doing tit for tat, I can guarantee you it's because you've hit the head on the nail. This is exactly the behavior that they're doing, and they're trying to flip it around on you so that they don't have to deal with it. They are projecting, 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 projecting. So you've got to figure out where this all came from for you, because it's not you, it's them. It is completely and totally them. I am ready for questions, guys. If you want questions, bring them on. And the Talionic thinking, it's the eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. So it's kind of like, how do I explain this? I'm going to answer this question in just a second. It's kind of like, I've heard people go, well, but they've hurt me and they're going to get away with it. Okay, so here's the deal. Again, every time you strike back or out at them, you are feeding them exactly what they want and what they need. And it will be used against you later on in the smear campaign when you finally leave, because they're going to start telling everybody how you raged at them and how you called them names and how you hurt their feelings all the time and how you did all of this behavior that they taught you and that they do to you. It's called projection. So you don't want to do that. So you want to take a big, deep breath and go, is this going to get me anywhere? So this is the thing that I tell couples all the time. It's like, how many times have you gone through this argument? And not couples that are, abusive. I will not deal with that. But, in dealing with couples that just don't have good communication, it's like, do you recognize when this is going to go down this path that you know how it's going to end? Oh yeah, every time. Then why the fuck are you still doing it? That's the definition of an insanity. So call a timeout, walk away, do whatever you need to, but do not play out the script that the abuser is having you do. And in a healthy, normal relationship, call out a timeout, take a deep breath, walk away, write down whatever you need to, come back, try again. With an abuser, there is no communication. There isn't. They don't want you to be right. They don't want you to have any sort of resolution whatsoever. They want to leave you hanging and they want you to be wrong. They will never take responsibility for anything wrong they have ever done in their lives. Okay. All right. Is tit for tat the same as narcissistic, wrathful, no boundary revenge when they have been exposed and challenged? No, it's very, very different. So, and by the way, guys, please ask me any communication questions you want. This is kind of an all open communication question thing, because this is stuff that narcissists and abusers do. So is that the same? Wrathful, no boundary revenge when they have been exposed and challenged? That's a little bit different. So when I'm saying, well, it's similar. Now, tit for tat isn't that. Talionic thinking is. So let's separate these out. Tit for tat is done in the relationship, in the conversation. The talionic thinking is the way that they are all the time. So they personalize everything. Like literally everything is about them. So let's say that you post something on Facebook about a bad day that you're having, and you're having trouble with somebody, and so you post about that, right? They will come at you and say that you're damning them and you're this and you're that and dead. And then when you go to try to appease them, it's like, hey, I wasn't talking about you. I was talking about this situation over here at work. They will come back and start calling names even harder because you're right and they're wrong. And they don't like that. And they want you to engage in a public tit for tat with them so that they can go, see, they're this way. That's when you cut it off. That's when you completely stop responding, okay? That's tit for tat. Talionic thinking is the thinking that drives the tit for tat, okay? The talionic thinking is the black and white thinking. The talionic thinking is, you hurt me, and by God, I'm going to hurt you back because there's one in this ledger and there needs to be one in this ledger. They're very much no gray area whatsoever. So what drives the wrathful, no boundary revenge, once they've been exposed, when they start doing the smear campaign, that is the talionic thinking. The tit for tat is what goes on in the conversation. The talionic thinking is what drives the tit for tat. The tit for tat is the Old Testament, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. You hurt me, I'm going to hurt you back. You humiliated me because you've exposed my lies. You've exposed my bad behavior, so I'm going to get you. Those are the really crazy ones. Those are the obsessive exes. Those are generally the dark triads. Those are the ones who have to have restraining orders put against them every single year, or at least once, until they figure it the fuck out. You know, they're crazy. They are absolutely batshit crazy, and they have to be right, and they will continue to try to get that person, because in their crazy minds, they're one down. You won. You walked away from them. You don't have anything more to do with them. You filed a restraining order against them. How dare you? How dare you publicly call out that they are stalking you? How dare you? You should have just sat there and took it. What the fuck? So they will continue to come back, and then another restraining order has to go on, and then they will continue to come back. They're crazy. So that is the talionic thinking that's driving that. They have to be right. Instead of stopping and going, gee, I've been stalking this person. I've been doing things that are illegal. Maybe I should stop. No, they don't think that way. To them, the system is skewed. There's some paranoid thinking going on with that. There's some, you know, they've bribed somebody, or they've done this, or they're crazy. They're crazy. They are absolutely batshit motherfucking crazy. So that drives the stalking, the Talionic thinking. They have to be right. They have to be one up. The ledgers have to be even. And if they're not, it drives them crazy. It really does. They can't stand it when somebody wins. They can't stand it when the abuse target says enough, walks away, and wins. Because in their mind, it's a win. For the abuse target, it's like a whole another year of suffering and grieving and healing. And, you know, that doesn't look like a win to anybody, but it is. But, you know, to them, it's like, how dare you get away from me? I didn't give you permission to leave. That's kind of their thing. Because their whole thing is, you know, you were supposed to be my punching bag, and how dare you leave? And they really do think like that. It's mental. All right. How do you respond when the response to calling out rage is "you made me"? You did not make anybody do anything. I cannot make anybody think anything. So what abusers will do, especially when their spouses leave them, is that they will accuse me of controlling the spouse and manipulating the spouse to leave them, when in fact it's been therapy and the spouse has come to this conclusion on their own. I can't control anybody, guys. I'm good, but I'm not that good. And I wouldn't want to be that good, because the whole point of therapy is to lead the person to come to their own conclusion at their own time. We all know best how to heal us. We just need the tools for how to row down that rapids and not hit the rocks. That's all we need. So basically, when people come to me and they're like, I don't know whether I should stay in this relationship or not, take a deep breath. What does your gut say? Yes or no? Right now. And then they'll usually say no. It's like, okay, well, there's your answer. You've known it. You just didn't like the answer. Don't listen to the head. Don't listen to the heart. Listen to the gut. The gut will never steer you wrong. The head and the heart will tell stories and get you all confused. The gut is a simple yes or no question. That is it. Okay, so when somebody does the "you made me," the truth of the matter is you cannot make anybody do anything at all, period. They are choosing. Now, when that happens, walk away, be done. Because there is no, if you're going to try to win that argument, you've already lost. Because there is no way to win it. Because what you do as soon as you say, hey, you're choosing. Soon as you do that, guarantee it. Word salad. Oh, well, but you did this, bringing up the past, tit for tat, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and word salad, and doesn't even make sense. And then confusion, fog, fear, obligation, guilt. What the heck were we even talking about in the first place? And you'll never get through that argument. So anyone who says "you made me," stop it. Stop it cold. Okay, we're done. We're done, because you are clearly unwilling to take responsibility for your own shit. Goodbye. And you turn around and you walk out. That will lead them to rage. Absolutely. Let them walk out. Grab your pet, go. Because there is no winning the "you made me" argument, because it's designed for you to not be heard. It's designed to lead into an argument. It's designed for you. That's your cue. Just like training a dog, there's your treat. Okay, you made me. You better get him down and apologize. You better apologize to me. You made me. Really? So it's the training. They're trying to get you to apologize to them for something that they did. I'm so sorry. I made you do that. You're right. What? Hello, cognitive dissonance. Hello? No, you don't engage in that kind of conversation. You don't. You leave. You walk away. You don't even engage in it. I'm sorry you're not willing to take responsibility. When you're willing to take responsibility, we can finish this conversation. Goodbye. Turn around and walk out. Now, is that dangerous? Yeah. Especially if they're physically violent. You don't necessarily want to do that. But if you're to the point where you're ready and you're done, you can perfectly well say that. You made me means they're not willing to take responsibility for anything. I can't make another person do anything. Trust me. If I could make people healthy, happy, and whole, I fucking would. You know, if I could make people leave abusive relationships or not get involved in them before they even start, I fucking would. I don't have that kind of power. I can't make anybody do anything, and neither can you. So that's a narcissistic bullshit way of getting out of personal responsibility. Okay. Next question. Why is it I can see the gray areas when judging the actions of someone else and be sympathetic to them, but only see black and white when judging my own actions and have no sympathy for myself? That's self-esteem. So when we are raised with an abuser of some sort, whether it is, you know, malignant narcissist, malignant borderline, a psychopath, whatever, they teach us that everything is our fault. Everything is our fault. There is, you know, starving children in China, my fault. Bank crisis in France, my fault. Unrest in Syria, my fault. Seriously, they teach us that everything that goes wrong in the world is somehow our fault. They do. And that leads to very black and white thinking. All, nothing, good, bad, black, or white. That's what they teach us. And so we're very hard on ourselves. Very hard on ourselves. You know, when I first started doing therapy, and if somebody didn't get it or was struggling or whatever, I would sit there and blame myself. You know, it was like, what could I have done differently? And my mentor, John Nixon, bless his heart. I love him. And I don't mean bless his heart like a Southern bless your heart. I mean, Southern, you know, not a Southern bless my heart. It's like, I really love that man. He's amazing. John Nixon was like, Chris, you're not that powerful. Stop. It's up to them. It's up to them to heal them. If they're unwilling to get fixed or unwilling to fix themselves, there's nothing you can do. All you can do is give them the tools. And if they choose not to fix themselves or not to work on themselves, that's not on you. That's on them. Bless that man. I love him. He's best mentor ever. So we are very hard on ourselves, and we have a very hard time seeing the gray. So one way to start doing that is to recognize when you are being hard on yourself. Do you really deserve that? The answer to that is no, you don't. So you got to practice. It takes practice seeing the gray. So after John and I had that talk, John Nixon, who was my mentor, there goes Chance, we're dog sitting. After John and I had that talk, it took practice, you know, that when that situation would come up again for me to go, nope. Nope. Thank you for your input. Nope, not going to play that game. I'm giving them the tools. It's up to them. Why? Because I say so. Thank you. Bye-bye. Do you see where I'm going? So it takes practice to get that gray thinking going for yourself. Okay. So it's good that you can see the gray areas with other people. I need you to start looking at the gray areas with you. And to be gentle with you. That's why I always say that. Whenever I end something to somebody, I usually say, you know, stay strong and be gentle with yourself. Be gentle with you. Why? Because we're not. If we've been raised with abuse, if we've been in an abusive relationship, we are our own worst enemy. And because we are constantly mea culpa, mea maxima culpa, my fault, all my fault. You know, and instead of going, hey, here's their culpability for it, here's my culpability for it, you know, we just immediately take on everything as our own fault. So you got to start working on the gray areas. And that means giving yourself some slack. Could you have done anything differently? No. You know, in a lot of cases, no. So stop beating yourself up. Does that make sense? So that's what I want you to do. Okay. Talionic thinking. Does that go hand in hand with addiction? So when the addiction stops, the talionic thinking stops? No, two totally different things. So let's talk about this for just a second. Addiction has a whole range of messed up way of thinking. Truly messed up way of thinking. So when an addict is in the thrall of addiction, it mimics narcissism. It does, because they are all about themselves and it's all about their drug of choice. Okay. So they're very self-centered. They're very selfish. They don't think about other people. It's a really weird way of thinking. It's like the drug is everything to them and everybody else be damned. What was I thinking? Sorry, brain gone. So, so it's very, when an addict is in the thralls, they're very self-centered. They're very, all about themselves. When they come out of it, okay, some may have some black and white thinking while they're in the thralls of the addiction. when they come out of it, they're still going to have the black and white thinking. If the black and white thinking was there before the addiction, it's there during the addiction, and it's coming after the addiction. You've got to understand something. When people use, they're self-medicating. And they're self-medicating for a reason. So they're either because there's depression, I've seen that. There's anxiety, I've seen that. There's bipolar, that's scary. Or there's some personality disorder going on that they are trying to self-medicate. So with depression, they'll be doing uppers. They'll be doing, meth and amphetamines and, cocaine, crack cocaine, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, trying to get themselves up, okay? With anxiety, they're going to be drinking. What they don't understand is that the paradoxical effect of alcohol is that it raises everything back up twice as high, blood pressure, heart rate, all the metabolical functions, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that's why you can't sleep at night. With bipolar, you'll find often that they will be using both an upper and a downer. So they're trying to be their own apothecary. They're trying to be their own physician. They're trying to, oh, well, if I take some crack cocaine while I'm depressed, and then when I'm high, I can take the heroin. They do that. It's like they mix heroin with crack. It's like they'll do heroin when they're manic, and they'll do crack cocaine when they're depressed, and it's a good way to have a fucking heart attack. Anyway, the point being is that once they get clean and sober, now we can deal with whatever was the base issue that's really going on. Addiction is just a symptom, guys. It's a symptom. It's not the main problem. Guarantee it. You rip away the addiction, you're going to find what the reality is. What are you running from? What have you been trying to medicate? What are you trying to avoid? What are you trying to avoid feeling? And the same goes for us as targets of abuse. Because remember, we are as addicted to the abuser as a heroin addict is to heroin. So we got to find why. Why have we been addicted to that? What is really going on here? There is something else going on. Guarantee it. And usually it's a codependency issue. It's a fear of abandonment. There is some trauma that has happened in our past, and we're trying to soothe it. Here's the original wound. And we're trying to soothe it by making somebody out here love us when this person wouldn't. So when a person comes out of addiction, their issues are still all going to be there. If there is black and white thinking there, that's still going to be there. And that means that every single person that goes into recovery would be smart if that they also go to AA, NA, CMA, whichever A you want to go to, and get a therapist to work on whatever the thinking is. Okay, so yeah, can the Talionic thinking be helped in a normal person or in a person who it's learned behavior in that they watched their parents do it, they were in an abusive relationship, et cetera, et cetera? Yeah, you can. That can be helped. That can be worked on. If they're a narcissist and they've got all the other behavior going on, no, that is not going to change. That is not going to be different. Yeah, I'm willing to take other questions, even though they're a little off topic. If there's anything out there that you guys, communication stuff, tit for tat stuff. So basically I wanted to, what is the best way to approach the idea of therapy to a young child? Oh, how young are we talking about? Oh my gosh. Okay. So when I work with young children, I let the parents know, it's like, hey, it helps if we can do family therapy to have everybody in there to work on the family system, right? Because it's never just the kid. This is the thing that drives me crazy. It's like I have parents go, oh, I want to get my child in therapy. Well, it would be a great idea for you to go to therapy with them as well, or for the family unit to go to therapy, because you don't want to single out the kid. You don't want the kid to feel like they're the problem, because they're generally not. And I hate narcissistic parents that say, oh, I want to get therapy for my teenager. And then they come in and fill out the paperwork and then proceed to tell me how terrible this child is and how it's all the child's fault. And the child has been trying to control them since they were a baby. Really? Last time I checked, 6 months old can't do much except poop and eat and sleep. So, craziness. So the best way to approach the idea of therapy to a young child is you let them know it's great. You let them know it's, hey, you get to talk about anything you want to, but then that needs to be honored. So what I let my parents know is that when a young child comes to therapy, they get to say whatever they need to say. And it may be about the parent, but I'm not going to share that unless there is a danger to self, danger to other, or the parent needs to know about it. And if there are issues between the child and the parent, it's called child-parent conflict is what it is. Then I encourage the child to talk to the parent if, caveat, they're not a fucking abuser, they're not a narcissist, they're not personality disordered, and they are really honestly willing on improving the relationship. I encourage the child to talk to the parent. And 9 times out of 10, once the kid has the skill and the confidence to talk to the parent, they do. And what I also do is I have them come into the session and have the child tell the parent everything they need to. And then if the parent uses whatever was said against them, that's when we start working on boundaries, and that's when we start working on self-esteem. I never say, oh my gosh, you can't talk to your parent. But what I do is go, maybe it would be good to learn boundaries. And then they kind of figure it out themselves. So, okay, all of a sudden my partner started to try to control me and no longer trust me. What is going on? All right, so in an abusive relationship, when the abuser is doing something bad, remember, it's all about projection for them. If they are doing something that they cannot accept that they are doing, they flip it around and they spew it all over the partner. So if you've had a good relationship and it's been lovely and kind and wonderful and love bomb, love bomb, love bomb, this is now the discard phase. This is the devalue phase. This is where the narcissist likes to go out and cheat. And once they've done it, they accuse you of it, or they have done it in the past and they accuse you of it. Because remember, again, we see the world the way we are. I see the world as beautiful. The world is beautiful. The world has got the most amazing things in it. And I see beauty in damn near everything, you know. But with a narcissist, with an abuser, they're suspicious, they're paranoid, they're evil, they're dark, they're vicious, they're mean, they lie, they cheat, they steal. They want everyone to be in their image. And so they view the world through the view of everything is dog shit. Okay. So if they are doing something or have done something in the past, they will accuse you of doing it. Now, I'm not saying that's exactly what's going on there because I don't have either one of you in front of me. But in general, in an abusive relationship, that is what happens, is that they suddenly start accusing the partner of doing things that they are doing. I call this the narcissist chain. It didn't happen. This is the question. It didn't happen. If it did happen, it's not important and you're too sensitive. And if it's important, you deserved it. Oh, fuck yeah. Oh, fuck yeah, they do that. Yeah, absolutely. So they deny. And remember, we're dealing with ego defense. Ego defense. It's Freudian. Ego defense. So one of them is denial, right? The other one is projection. You know, so if it did happen, it's not important. That one is devaluing. You know, so, oh, it's not that. It's not important. That wasn't important. I should do it. Why are you bringing it up? It's not important. And you're too sensitive. Okay, listen to me now. Believe me later. There is no such thing as too sensitive. There is no such thing as too sensitive. Everyone's view of the world is valid. I may not agree with it, but it is their view of the world. And this is where communication skills come into play, where we start talking to each other, not at each other, to each other to understand why they are feeling this way or why they are thinking this way or what is causing the upset so that we can come to an understanding. What a narcissist does is shut down the conversation. Well, you're too sensitive. Basically saying, I'm not going to listen to you because your opinion is invalid. No, your opinion is not invalid. You are not too sensitive. Your view is correct for you. Yeah, absolutely. It's valid for you. Yeah, absolutely. And you have a right to say it. You do. I'm sorry. You do. So, yeah, they do the whole you're too sensitive thing to shut you down. And nobody's too sensitive. Sorry. If somebody's having an upset over something, if somebody has been hurt by your actions, you don't get to tell them that they're not hurt. So remember that. And if it's important, you deserved it. They justify their actions. Well, you made me. You deserved the cold shoulder I gave you for 4 months and the no sex because you made me. You did this. You did that. You. Yeah, that's exactly what narcissists do. All right, covert narc, and a person I thought were my friends have made friends with my friends. I want to get out of the relationship with them all safely. How do I do that? You let it die by attrition. Be busy. Don't be around. So, you know, in some cases, it depends on what's going on. If they are doing a smear campaign, if they are being abusive, you know, you cut it off. You just stop. If it is, you know, okay, they're friends with your friends and they're going to smear and they're going to do whatever, you be busy. You be busy. You get out of it and let it die by attrition. You just keep being busy and stop hanging out with them. You know, so it's like if you were hanging out with them every week, you go to every other week, and then every third week, and then every fourth week, and you just keep getting further and further away. And when they try to start stuff, oh gosh, you know, I gotta go. You know, we'll talk about this later, and leave. You are under no obligation to stay in a relationship, a friendship, a business, or anything else with anybody that is trying to cause you harm. Okay. I think my voice is going again. We've got pollen. We had this windstorm that came through. Holy baby Jesus, it was bad. So my voice is going. I'm going to call it for today. So thanks, you guys, for all the great questions. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do. I think maybe I'm going to do it on covert narcissism. I think I'm going to revisit what all the different narcissist abusers are, because people, and also paranoid. I want to talk about what paranoia is, because people are like, well, I don't understand. Is that schizophrenia? No, that's something completely different. So I'm going to talk about that next week. Remember, we got to get the deposits in for the cruise if you're interested. So go to Eventbrite and reserve for that. And then Beth or Chris will get to you. If you have questions, or if you have a topic that you would like me to cover, you can IM me on Facebook, or we leave it in the comments down here. And that's it. All right, guys, I hope this was helpful. I hope it gave you a better understanding and of what talionic thinking is and tit for tat, and the fact that you can change it, but it means working on your self-esteem. It means working on the inner child. There are no magic bullets. No magic bullets. All right. Love you guys. Have a great week. Where is my thing? There it is. I will talk to you later. Bye.